as I try and explain why I am so thankful for music in my life. But we'll start with a reading. This one is from Thomas Merton. Now, just to give you a little bit of context, this is him with a very young looking Dalai Lama. So, Thomas Merton was a Catholic monk and he died in the 1960s. Very influential spiritual thinker, very interfaith leaning, which was very unusual at that time. There's no coincidence he's there with the Dalai Lama. Here's something that he wrote. Do you need me? I am there. You cannot see me, yet I am the light you see by. You cannot hear me, yet I speak through your voice. You cannot feel me, yet I am the power at work with your hands and in your hands. I am at work, though you do not understand my ways. I am at work, though you do not recognize my works. I am not strange visions. I am not mysteries. Only in absolute stillness beyond self can you know me as I am. And then, but as a feeling and a faith. Yet I am there. Yet I am here. Yet I answer. When you need me, I am there. Even if you deny me, I am there. Even when you feel most alone, I am there. Even in your fears, I am there. Even in your pain, I am there. I am there when you pray and when you do not pray. Though your faith in me is unsure, my faith in you never wavers, because I know, because I love you. Beloved, I am there. Thomas Merton is talking about this pervasive, omnipresent aspect of the divine that is mostly invisible to us. The way that I lean into that the most is through nature, through friendship or truthful connection with strangers, and in art, and especially in song. It's like song opens up a dialogue or an intimacy with my ideas about God. Let me give you some examples. So I could get up early and see the sunrise, and intellectually I could think, oh my God, how amazing. There must be a divine design in our days. But music gives me the capacity to reach out and touch the sunrise. A painter can do this with poetry, a dancer could do this with movement. There's many ways. But my way of immediately responding would probably sound like this. Good morning, Creator, this is your child, Simon Ruth. I praise and greet you on this day. The song gives me something with which to call out to the sunrise. It gives a capacity for my recognition and thinking to be expressed in a deeper or different way. Now, if we go back to that psalm that we did earlier, let me see if I can find it. Here it is. So this is Psalm 34, a different setting of it, but basically Psalm 34, a lot of it is about the beloved calling to us and us answering with our heart. Here Nancy Merrill says, when I searched for love, the beloved answered within my heart, and all my fears flew away. But I'm going to go back to the setting that we had earlier. Now, we read it earlier, but I actually sing this. I sing this, I love this one, and I'm going to show you how I sing it. And if you're brave, you can join me. I'll sing it through twice, so that if you're brave and you want to do it, you're welcome to. So this is using traditional Gregorian chant melody. How exactly do I do this? By opening my heart in gratitude and praise for all the gifts of life. By focusing on the astounding intricacies of the world. By attending to the still small voices of healing and renewal, which save me in times of trouble. And by loving life and honoring that gift, speaking truth, doing good, seeking peace. When I serve the highest, I know I serve whatever God there is. The joy of this, no matter what my troubles, will keep me whole. How exactly do I do this? By opening my heart in gratitude and praise for all the gifts of life. By focusing on the astounding intricacies of the world. By attending to the still small voices of healing and renewal, which save me in times of trouble. And by loving life and honoring that gift, speaking truth, doing good, seeking peace. When I serve the highest, I know I serve whatever God there is. The joy of this, no matter what my troubles, will keep me whole. Now there's intellectual ideas in here that I could read and not be able to access in my heart. Let's take the last line. The joy of this, no matter what my troubles, will keep me whole. It's like that scoop of melody. I can imagine that as like the touch of an invisible presence right in the midst of my troubles. Now, other people might be able to do this with language and with art, but it is music and something about the vibration in the body and the familiarness of the melody that really does this for me. Now, Scripture asks us to love your God, your beloved God, with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. And I remember before I went to church very often hearing this and going, how on earth do you do that with something that is not a being? I mean, how do you love something that's not a thing? It was a real sticking point for me and very, very, very confusing. And music was a doorway in to me doing that. Finding a way to tap into the hidden eternity in each moment. All right, we're going to hear a little bit more from Thomas Merton now. This time it's from the album Point Verge that my friend Alana Lewandowski made. She took some of Thomas Merton's teachings and set them into simple chants, and then got this amazing teacher, James Finley. When he was a young monk and lived in the monastery, had Thomas Merton as his spiritual director. He's a very interesting man. He's now a therapist and teaches at the Center for Contemplation and Action. Here's them talking a little bit about Merton responding to the mystery.
For the world and time are the dance of the Lord in emptiness.
For the world and time are the dance of the Lord in emptiness. The silence of the spheres is the music of a wedding feast. The more we persist in misunderstanding the phenomena of life, the more we analyze them out into strange finalities and complex purposes of our own, the more we involve ourselves in sadness, absurdity, and despair. But it does not matter very much, because no despair of ours can alter the reality of things, or stain the joy of the cosmic dance which is always there. Indeed, we are in the midst of it, and it is in the midst of us, for it beats in our very blood, whether we want it to or not.
For the world and time are the dance of the Lord in emptiness.
I've given us a very mystical piece, and we're only listening to it once. So if you want to spend some time with those words, I invite you to go and find that video on YouTube. Basically, what I hear in this, and the reason I've listened to it maybe 50 times now, is Merton describing something about that deep listening and creative expression with this God that we're supposed to love with all our heart, our soul, and all our mind. But it can actually be pretty straightforward and simple. Last night I heard a wonderful story. James Finley was in a podcast, and he was talking about how he used to go to Thomas Merton for spiritual direction. And he went and he was telling him about his work on the farm in the monastery, and he was in charge of the pig barn. So James Finley was explaining to Thomas Merton how he got this paint, blue paint, and was painting the pig barn blue. And Thomas Merton said, "Oh, is that because you are responding to our Sacred Mother?" and James Finley said, "No, it was the cheapest paint that they had at the hardware store." And started laughing. And then Thomas Merton said, no, you could have responded with this as a sacred gesture. You know, part of how that call and response with the sacred, it doesn't need to be a beautiful piece of art. It could be as simple as painting the pig barn blue, because that is the color of Mother Mary if you're Catholic. We need to find creative ways to call and respond to the invisible mystery, and music does this perfectly. So I'm going to lead us into a second of the Psalm 46 that I have. So I sing the line, and then if you're a singer, you're welcome to sing it back. If you're not a singer, just let the spaciousness nurture your heart. The oceans roar, you are the Lord of all, the one who calms the wind, makes my heart be still. The earth gives way, the mountains move into the sea, the nations rage. God holds it all, God holds it all. Here's the call and response. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be still and know that I am love. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that be still and know that be still and know be still and be still In kirtan, they always tell you to listen to the space where the song was. They have a big pause after they sing. So I use song as a means of creating an intimate dialogue with God, a bit like how you talk to a baby. You know, you don't have a conversation, but you're connecting. It's a true, authentic connection. Caroline Myss describes prayer as entering into authentic dialogue with Spirit. And we tend to think of prayer as written prayers or a bit like a shopping list, you know. Dear God, there's COVID in the world, please keep my family safe. Now, there's nothing wrong with that type of prayer, but there's a type of prayer here that I'm describing that's different, that we also need to engage with if we are to love our God with all our heart, all our soul, and all our mind. Now, if you go back to that cosmic dance that Merton was talking about, that we heard in the song with Alana Lewandowski, one of the things I hear in that is him describing the sacred laws of this universe, sacred geometry. He says, "For the world and time are the dance of the Lord in emptiness." And the creation stories are all about the world being brought into time and space. That's not just about the things, it's also about time being created. And a lot of the creation stories have the story of creation being sung into being. Sung into being. It wasn't spoken or thought into being, it was called, it was sung. And this is the reason I think that a lot of scripture is sung, it's recited. And in many traditions, they'll sing the Hebrew Torah or the Quran, it's sung. So we are part of creation. We exist in time and space. And this is wonderful, but it's also what cuts us off from the mystery. And the reason I love music so much, not just because it's beautiful, it makes a moment of time and space perceivable. What do I mean by that? Well, I remember the first time I went into a recording studio and I went into the booth. Have you ever seen videos where they've got the singer and they're in a padded booth and I sang and my voice sounded so thin, it sounded awful, it sounded quiet and small, and it didn't sound like me at all, because what the padded room had done was taken away all the echoes, all the reflections of who we are in the space around us. And when we sing, we are giving our own voice, but we're also calling that out. When you're in the forest, you hear your voice bouncing off the trees. It's a very different sound than if you're in a room. If you're downtown in Seattle, there's so much noise, it's hard to hear your own voice. Sound is a very important part of how we can perceive time and space. No wonder it's a holy tool. So I got a wee song about that my friend Alexa wrote. I'll sing that for us briefly. I love this one. We are created by sound. We are created by the song of the universe. We are created by sound. We are created by the song of the universe. Singing with the trees. Singing with the song of the universe. Singing with the whale. Singing with the honeybees. We are created by sound. We are created by the song of the universe. We are created by sound. We are created by the song of the universe. Singing with the trees. Singing with the song of the universe. Singing with the whale. Singing with the honeybees. We are created by sound. We are created by the song of the universe. We are created by sound. We are created by the song of the universe. Now, I found this video. I haven't signed up for the course yet. It's a description of her course. But I'm going to play it to you, even though the woman is advertising her course, because what she describes is part of what I'm getting at here, how sound and voice can tap us into a reality deeper than our separate ego self. I know I'm getting a bit metaphysics here, but I find all this fascinating, so I hope you do too. So this is Chloe Goodchild is the lady's name.
We're going to sink our awareness down into the absolute core of our being, beneath duality. And that's where the treasure of your wisdom body is. So we're moving through the music of your pain body into the treasure music and symphonic composition of your wisdom body. And that is a wisdom within you that is older and deeper than the polarity of all conflict. That's where we're going in these 7 weeks. And at the absolute heart of this is the mantra, there is no suffering too great for human song. Let's find your true, authentic sound. The sound of your being.
Very interesting. In case you want to sign up, I'll drop a link to that course in the chat. I haven't signed up yet. I might. What I was fascinated by that was the way that she was talking about so many aspects. The healing, there is no suffering too great for human song. I heard that and I was like, I understand that. That's why I go to music. That's why we go to music when we are struggling. That's why music is such a healing balm. That's why teenagers, their favorite possession is their t-shirt of their band. You know, there's so much identity and soothing in voice and sound and song. Now, Chloe has a song that she wrote called Singing Field, taking the words of Rumi, that I can share with you briefly. Did I tell you that was going to be a lot of singing today? You can't talk about music and song without actually demonstrating it. What would the point of that be? Beyond ideas of right and wrongdoing, there is a field, a singing field. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. Beyond ideas of right and wrongdoing, there is a field, a singing field. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. Beyond ideas of right and wrongdoing, there is, I feel, a singing field. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there. So I think the biggest way that I pray is through music, and I experience it as a call and response with my soul, or with God, or with fractured aspects of myself. I also use it as a way of living the questions and bringing my better self to situations that feel very impossible. I use it as a way of tapping into that peace that passes all understanding, that is woven amongst everything. But let's focus on using it to sit with the stuff that's really difficult, the unbearable questions of why things happen as they do. Rilke has this amazing quote. Many of you might know this. I love this quote. Rilke wrote, "Be patient towards all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves, like locked rooms and like books that are now written in a very foreign tongue. Do not seek the answers which cannot be given you, because you would not be able to live them yet. And the point is to live everything, to live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer." And for me, holding the questions in song over months, sometimes years, is part of how I allow the answers to come forward. Singing is part of how the answer wakes up within us. Now, two very practical examples of this. One is using chant to interrupt the ego narrative. You know those times when we're drowned out by our self-pity, something terrible has happened, something unjust, and it just plays on repeat in our head. But why? And you're thinking about it. I remember when I was very, very angry at somebody that had wronged me, or that I believed had wronged me, I couldn't stop thinking about them. And I didn't want to think about them because I was angry at them, and I didn't want them in my days. And I used to use a chant to drown out that voice in me. The heart is not a holding place. My heart is not a holding place. Thy spirit is golden. My spirit is golden. And I am free to fly. Now, if we focus on this chant, we'll get back to the record that was on repeat in my head in a minute. But what I would do is I actually sing this out loud to drown out my thoughts. And it has a really soaring melody. The heart is not a holding place. It's quite a bold melody, you know. It's not a sad, feeling sorry for yourself melody. Thy spirit is golden. My spirit is golden. And I am free to fly. So it was a way of bringing in energy and movement to my stuck, broken record. And here's another one where you can use these earworms to just catch your thoughts, stop them, and replace them. That's called CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. But I found it much more effective if you place it in song. here's this one, the face of God, right? When I'm really angry at somebody, I sing this because it's really hard to just make them into the baddie when you're singing this. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. Especially if it's somebody that you love, like a family member or a pet that's driving you nuts or whatever the thing is, especially if you have a relationship. If you start singing this, that relationship will find its way from your heart into your thinking and will stop you from just pointing your finger at them as the baddie. Yeah, I find song to be really good at this, and it doesn't need to be these chants. It could be anything. To that way of leaning into the movement. Here's one. I will survive. Oh, as long as I know how to love, I know I'll stay alive. I've got all my life to live, and I've got all my love to give, and I'll survive. I will survive. Yeah. What a powerful song. I love that song. I am sure that the person that wrote that didn't just have an idea. They had this record on repeat, then they were breaking that pattern. So there's one last way that I consciously use song as prayer, and that is as a way of defining who and what we are and who I am, to try and tap into the deeper wisdom in us. Here's, I don't know that we're pushed for time, but I'll give you a little bit of my version of the prayer of St. Francis. Make me a channel of peace in my life. Grant that I can see through my human pain and still feel loved. In the darkness, let a light be found in there. So you might know the story of why I wrote this song. I just moved to the Abbey on Iona. I was new to Christianity, and I saw a postcard of the prayer of St. Francis, and I really liked it. And I thought, oh, I'm going to set that into song, take out the religious language so that my friends can understand it too. We all need to learn to forgive a few more 100 times. Melt our hatred, let love take root in our hearts. You know, people often ask me, Simon, how do you forgive somebody that's harmed you? How do you forgive when somebody harms you? I think you have to choose it and then hope over time the rigidity of your pain softens and compassion can come in. Melt our hatred and let love take root in our hearts. And if you sing that over and over again, it becomes a prayer, a mantra. I wouldn't speak this prayer as often as I've sung it. There's something about singing it that soothes our souls. And even if you're not a singer, you're just listening. If you have a piece of music that really allows you to define yourself in a bigger way, and not just the narrative of who hurt me and all the things that happened and how busy I am. Song is very, very, and hymn, very powerful at placing us in our bigger selves that we know we are. So, in conclusion, I'd like to ask us as a community, how do you create an intimacy with God? So maybe an easier way of saying that, is there some way that you can enter into a call and response with the sacred? And what is your way of listening to silence and responding? And my way clearly is to write songs and to sing them over and over again and to set them into music. If you feel like it, you're welcome to write them into the chat. Maybe we'll do that. And please remember that it doesn't have to be big. Thomas Merton said, if you paint the pig barn blue, that would be a prayer to Mother Mary. It doesn't have to be Michelangelo's art. It can be a very simple thing. So as we're thinking about that, what can we do to enter into a call and response with the sacred? If you want to write that in the chat, you're welcome to. Or just think about it and I'll sing one more song to close. Holy, 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 my heart adores you. My heart is glad to say the words, you are holy, Lord. Holy, 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 my heart adores you. My heart is glad to say the words, you are holy, Lord. Santo, 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 mi corazón te adora, mi corazón te sabe decir, santa eres, Señor. Holy, 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 my heart adores you. My heart is glad to say the words, you are holy, God.